It's easy to love the horror genre, but it's important to occasionally take a step back and realize that not every horror film is a horrifying movie, and not every horrifying movie is a horror film. It's time to take a look at my list of top 5 feel-bad comedies. Going beyond traditional dark comedies that so often will end on a lighthearted note, the films in this list must meet the following criteria. Number 1, as the genres listed on IMDb, one of them must be comedy. Number 2, of the genres listed on IMDb, none of them can be horror. And number 3, when the end credits roll, the general feeling upon pressing the stop button must be a soulless void that once contained your stomach as you desperately ponder the pointlessness of existence and the terrible nature of humanity in a firestorm of despair that'll last for days. So let's get to the list. The full-length motion picture debut of writer Charlie Kaufman and director Spike Jonze, this movie explores the very essence of consciousness and despair as our main character of Craig, played by John Cusack, seeks out a normal job. His passion being puppeteering, he is pressured into the normal world of white-collar filing by financial constraints and his wife Lottie, played by Cameron Diaz. As he continues his work, he stumbles across a hidden door which, when followed, takes him literally into the mind of actor John Malkovich for 15 minutes before being spit out into a ditch on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike. Things start reeling out of control as he learns not just how to observe, but also how to take small measures of control with the accomplished film actor. Meanwhile, the select few people he reveals this door to start finding other ways to manipulate the experience for their own personal gain. A beautiful, whimsical, and highly original movie, this film leaves a punch to the gut from the very start as we find ourselves watching these characters of low morals and high ideals benefit from taking man's very essence captive, and ultimately becoming their own worst enemy in the process. Watching terrible people do terrible things is bad enough, but doing so in such a manipulative and flippant way, all at the sacrifice of an innocent person, this movie will stick with you for a long while as you think back with glee at the concept, and with horror at the concept's ultimate conclusion. When thinking of disturbing dark comedies, the name John Waters is among the first to surface. His distinct lack of taste, overabundance of style, and propensity to shock moviegoers is legendary in the industry, and although the movie Pink Flamingos would be an obvious choice for this list and can certainly be thought of as a close contender, I've instead chosen a lesser-known title of his, Cecil B. Demented. Melanie Griffith plays aging and temperamental actress Honey Whitlock as she is kidnapped by rogue, literal terrorist filmmaker Cecil B. Demented and forced to star in the movie he has written. She is begrudgingly a part of production as film sets and movie theaters alike are sieged and trampled by Cecil and his merry band of filmmaking misfits. As Hollywood insiders and police track them down, Cecil attempts to always be exposing the seedy, soulless underbelly of mainstream films in an attempt to show his vision and indoctrinate Honey into his bizarre world. With the constant jabs at popular culture and popular films, this movie has many memorable moments, but with the over-the-top nature of the film and its barrage of tirades, one can't help but feel like this movie is nothing more than John Waters' attempt to give Hollywood a big middle finger as he eviscerates everything he deems profitable and empty of spirit, effectively bringing the audience watching Cecil B. Demented along for the ride until they, too, feel empty of spirit as they leave the theater. You'll never look at a tuna fish sandwich the same after watching this terribly disturbing comedy drama. Happiness follows a cavalcade of characters centralizing on the 3 grown Jordan sisters and their parents, Mona and Lenny. As the audience follows their stories and the stories of the people surrounding them, we are introduced to unflinchingly graphic and disturbing scenes of despondency, apathy, lust, rape, murder, and pedophilia. Any laughter found in this movie is only born of the mind's attempt to ease the discomfort as moviegoers watch these terrible people and their terrible stories unfold. Suffice it to say, this is not a movie that sticks with you for days, but for years afterward, and retrospective recall will rarely bring forth any humor in the dark content contained within. What happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas, as Kyle Fisher finds out. Played by Jon Favreau, he is taken to Sin City by his crew for a bachelor's weekend to remember before he becomes wed to his fiancée, played by Cameron Diaz. As his friends, played by Leland Orser, Christian Slater, Jeremy Piven, and Daniel Stern, set up a wild party in their hotel room complete with alcohol, drugs, and a stripper, things go horribly awry as she is killed in a freak accident. All thoughts of responsible actions are cast aside quickly as Christian Slater takes charge and insists on a body dump and a clean getaway.
It's a 105-pound problem. 105 pounds. It's got to be moved from point A to point B.
Things just keep getting worse once they put Las Vegas behind them, as characters are racked with secrets and guilt, causing others to be suspicious and follow equally unethical paths to seek the truth and find personal gain from the events that have unfolded. Nobody in this film exhibits anything reasonably close to good moral fiber, and where sometimes watching bad people do bad things and receiving comeuppance can be uplifting and gratifying, the consequences these characters suffer do little to reach a satisfactory conclusion or any level of feel-good lessons for the audience. Instead, as the camera floats upwards in the last scene and the credits begin rolling, the only feeling audiences will have is that over the course of the last 100 minutes, they have witnessed nothing but very bad things. An early 90s comedy romp starring Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, and John Candy, what could be more whimsical? Honestly, almost anything. Chevy Chase plays banker Chris Thorne, a man of moderate wealth, as he embarks on a journey to Atlantic City along with his neighbor, played by Demi Moore, and two obnoxious tag-alongs of Fausto and Ronaldo. In an attempt to take a shortcut in the middle of nowhere, he runs a stop sign and is chased down by local policeman Dennis, played by John Candy. After explaining how they do things a little bit different out here, instead of simply writing a ticket, the group of travelers is escorted to the local courthouse to stand in front of Dan Aykroyd, playing the role of decrepit, jovial, and quick-to-anger Judge Alvin Valkenheiser. They are met with a peculiar brand of justice as they are thrust into a funhouse ride of terror and death by the vengeful Valkenheiser, who hates nobody more than he hates bankers, and must find a way to escape and survive this backwoods version of carnival justice. Of this entire list, this is the only movie that both attempts nothing but comedy for laughs and also leaves the audience feeling absolutely punched in the gut by the time it finishes. Surreal makeup effects, outlandish characters, body horror, and truly diabolical sense of humor, it's difficult to find anything about this film whimsical or lighthearted. What may have been attempted as some devilishly cute dark humor instead misses the mark and just feels dark in the most humorless fashion. If you want to walk away from a movie-going experience feeling lifted of spirits and positive energy, this is one movie to absolutely avoid. So that should about do it for this top 5 feel-bad comedy list. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe, and if you want to support me further, my Patreon and my storefront links are below. Until next time.